What's up, YouTube? My name is Joystick. I have a brand new top 5 tips video for you today. We're gonna be talking about Sigma this time around. This is an off-tank video. I got most of the main tanks covered, if not all of them so far, with my educational content. So let's get started. One, I want to be talking about what is Sigma's role and objective as a hero. I feel like this is kind of a hero that has so many different play styles, so I just want to dive into one that I really like and that it's found really effective. I've been a top 500 Sigma player. I've grown to love this character a lot. So basically, I want to start by saying that you really want to be controlling space while not dying. I know that seems kind of like a simple concept, but the best way I can explain that to you is you kind of have to look for a sweet spot with Sigma. And what I mean about the sweet spot is you can play at a certain distance with your shield while taking different angles while doing a lot of damage. So what I like to do is, yes, I want to protect my team, but I also want to contest the enemies around me, right? So the best way you can do that is by taking high ground, watching flanks, and you always want to be looking to take these angles, right? So if you have any chance to play high ground, you don't necessarily have to play on top or next to your main tank 24/7. That's a beauty about Sigma, is he has his own shield that he can reposition at basically at any time. So you take high ground, you shield yourself, and you're constantly cutting off DPS from taking the position that they want, right? Or you're constantly doing damage to shields. You're constantly putting pressure on the enemy team. That's what makes Sigma so effective, is he doesn't have to reload, and he just can put out constant pressure with his spheres, right? So if you're able to make sure that you're playing at a safe distance where you're not too overextended, but you can make sure that you're still putting out pressure. That's what you gotta find with Sigma. It's kind of a sweet spot, I like to say. That just takes a lot of practice, really, to finding that perfect play style. But there's he has his own shield, so he has a lot more protection for himself more than his team. Yes, you can cover different spots for your teammates, but at the end of the day, you're mostly shielding yourself. So that's why Sigma's such a carry potential hero. Because you can just make sure that you can control the space that you want. So, and if you find a high ground that you want to control before a fight, take that positioning and be aggressive with it, because not only can you protect yourself, you have so many different tools around with your rock and being able to soak up damage with your other abilities. There's just so much things you can do that you got to get creative with. All right, make sure that next time that you play Sigma that you're thinking about these things, because a lot of players kind of tunnel vision and think oh, I have a shield, so I need to be shielding my team. You just want to make sure that you're always looking for opportunities to take different areas of the map. Make sure you're contesting the DPS, because that is your job after all. As an off tank, you kind of have to make sure you're contesting snipers, or say there's an Ashe on high ground, or there's a Junkrat spam coming through. You have to make sure you're contesting that, because otherwise the enemies are basically free to do whatever they want against you, and that can get really tough. Number 2, I want to talk about shield management as Sigma. This is also a very controversial thing, because a lot of people think you have to protect your team, but make sure that you protect yourself before you protect your team, because if you're not even sustaining alive as Sigma, then you're not really going to do a lot of damage, and you're not going to do a lot of output. So making sure that you're alive in the fights as long as possible, and making sure that you can get out safely is really important too. With his shield, I always try to reposition it constantly. There's not really a good time where you just need to leave it up 24/7. Unless you're straight up covering a bastion or something, you should always be looking to reposition your shield for a better spot or better position, because there's always so many things going on right in Overwatch. So if you have your shield in one spot, you're not really doing yourself any good, and it'll just break so easily, right? So always be looking, reposition your shield any opportunity you get. I know it's a lot of people have habits of just leaving their shield up, and that's how you just get no shield value. If you just let it just sit there in the wide open and let it break, then you're not gonna get, you're not helping anyone. But you can really help out your team by constantly repositioning your shield against DPS on high ground, snipers against Widowmaker, stuff like that. And always be able to look for like a better opportunity to set up for yourself and your team. Lastly, with shield management, I want to talk about cutting off like healing. So like, say you have tanks right here and your Sigma shield is coming through, you put your Sigma shield behind the tanks, and then you're essentially cutting off healing to those tanks. That's what you can do, always be looking to do. It's kind of like a more of an advanced tip, but like, say the enemy team's running Ana, right? The Ana can't heal through the shields, so if you're able to like think about it before the fight and like, or during the fight, put the shield behind their tanks, in some instances you can cut off the healing of that tank and to secure the kill so easily. I've gotten so many kills and eliminations just based off my shield positioning against healers and the enemy team, that you can secure kills and they literally can't do anything about it because they're not getting healed anymore, right? Moving on, let's talk about number 3. I want to talk about Sigma's rock / accretion. Basically, this is his like most effective like tool, I would say, in his kit. Having this rock is actually just, it does so much, and like a lot of people don't really think about it. So use it with rock. He's really good at taking 1v1s. So like if you can't like 100% hit like your primary fire, the spheres, like rock is a really good way to like make sure you secure a kill. If you get good practice with rock, you can just like one shot combo these squishies, right? So basically hit the rock and a couple of spheres, they're basically dead, right? So making sure that that is your most important ability you want to make sure you get good with and want to land. And it's also a good tool to like stop momentum. Like say you're playing against like a Reinhardt comp and they're trying to charge in at you, most likely like a nano boosted Reinhardt wants to swing on you, right? So surprise them with a rock and all of a sudden they lost all their momentum trying to speed in at you, right? Always be looking for those little opportunities. Also, accretion / rock is insane at what it does for canceling ultimates. If you know like the enemy team has like a certain ultimate, make sure you have your rock ready. So say the enemy team has Sigma ults, Gravitic Flux, and they're looking and you see their Orisa's about to pull, that's like a clue that they're about to Sigma ult, right? So making sure that you have your rock ready so you can rock the enemy Sigma and you actually can cancel his ultimate. I have so many clips of me canceling Sigma ults with rock, that like just crazy rocks that I hit, and literally you can change fights and turn the whole game on its head just based off like the rocks that you can hit. Obviously that's really tough to do. A lot of people aren't good with this ability, but like if you do get good with this ability and you keep grinding Sigma and learn them, you will hit those rocks and you will change the game. Also, rock is good against like Mora Coalescence. You can cancel her ultimate. You can cancel even like Earth Shatter, like mid animation, stuff like that. Always keep that in mind. But rock really just enables your team to follow up with damage, and that's like the most important thing, because you stun the target, they're essentially like immobile for a few seconds and your team can follow up damage on that, right? It's really good to protect like your backline. Say like your Ana or your Zen behind you is getting dove a lot, just save your rock for like the Tracer or the Genji that's always looking to dive your backline, because rock is really easy to hit on those type of targets. Number 4, I want to talk about Sigma's ultimate, Gravitic Flux. This is kind of an ultimate that's used, you know, in kind of weird ways, because there's like, it's like the timing is hard with this ultimate, because some people think like you want to use Sigma ult to initiate, some people think it's like a mid fight. I think it's a really good mid-fight ultimate. I wouldn't ever really initiate with this ult, because it's something that you want to like use on the enemy when they're already damaged, right? Because what Sigma ult does is it pulls the enemies in the air, and then like if they're under a half HP, most of the time they're gonna die, right? So that's why I like to use it mid-fight. So it's really like an ultimate. If you have like an Orisa with you, you can use her like pull all the enemies together, use your Sigma ult, pull them all in the sky, drop them to the ground, boom, they should be all either hurt or eliminated at that point, right? So also when using Sigma's ult, make sure that your positioning when you're ulting is really important too. Like if you can like fly, right? You can fly with this ability, and make sure that you're flying either high in the sky, or you're still like you know, ducking and dodging, or like even like going behind cover sometimes if it's not super safe to Sigma ult, because Sigma's ult can get canceled nowadays. So making sure that like you don't get like rocked in the air, that's like the worst feeling. That's what I was talking about earlier. If you can like hit rock on Sigma, it's a worst feeling when your ultimate gets canceled, right? So making sure that you're safe when you're using this is very, very important. Lastly, with Gravitic Flux, you know, if you are advanced at this hero, then you probably know Sigma ult is really good at like counter ulting as well. Say the enemy team has Genji Nanoblade and they're about to Nanoblade your backline, like you know 100% that they have it and they're about to use it. Get ready to Sigma ult your backline and catch that Nanoblade before he even takes out your targets. That's like a more advanced tip again. That's some stuff that I like to do in like top 500 games, GM level, but it really can work at any level. So if you get good with this hero and you can predict ultimates in the ultimate economy, you can save your team by just using one ultimate and they use two, and literally it's such a big play, right? If you can pull it off. Talk about number 5 best compositions for Sigma right now. I would say still to this day, Sigma is the best with Orisa just because of her pull. She can pull with his ults, she can pull with his rock. It's just a lot of things you can do cycling out shields wise. Obviously that's been like a staple in Overwatch, is the double shield. But moving off from that, I would say Sigma's basically good with almost any other tank. Just because of like how Sigma plays, he's kind of like his own like entity in the fact that he can just kind of get his carry on his own and do his own thing. So he can basically be run with like Reinhardt. Roadhog is not great but can work if both those players are like individually skilled. Zarya, D.Va, Ball, like again, like it kind of depends on like if your other tank can like sustain on their own and like individually put in their own work, right? That's why I like to play Sigma in a lot of situations. Like if I don't have like a lot of damage or DPS, like my DPS aren't doing a whole lot or my team isn't really sustaining, I like to go Sigma. I like to swap to Sigma just because I can kind of carry on my own. That's kind of how this hero is. Like I've played a lot of matches with Sigma and gotten basically gold damage, gold elims, and I basically have only died like 3 or 4 times in the match, right? So I end up going like 40 and like 5. That's really, really good. You know, even if your team can't like follow up on your damage, you're still doing a lot. And that's really what's important about this hero, is making sure you can get the maximum output while still not dying at all. Or, you know, that's how you get a lot of value. Yes, that'll be the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for a fantastic, so much support on the channel. I will see you guys in the next video. I have another series for the top 5 tips, starting with the healers next. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.